Welcome to Guns, Guns, Gear, and Guns with Gary Gunderson. I am Gary Gunderson. CBS News has taken aim at a new gun control talking point: police guns sold to the public. They are against it in general and are targeting former police agency firearms used in crimes, or rather, involved in crimes, to push this point.
But a CBS News investigation in partnership with the nonprofit newsrooms The Trace and Reveal.
They made this report in conjunction with The Trace, a nonprofit organization that has direct financial ties to Everytown for gun safety, which, if you are not aware, pushes for very strict gun control.
Was that a weapon involved in her son's death here in Indianapolis was a former police weapon from a sheriff's office.
Note the phrasing, involved in the crime. That could be as simple as being found at the scene but never actually fired, as in this case highlighted. Oh no, they arrested someone with a gun that may have been legally possessed and purchased, and it had a round in the chamber. This is one instance out of the thousands they are talking about in this news report, one they brought up themselves, and they count as guns that are involved in crime, but may not have ever been used in commission of a crime. You just have to be arrested with a gun, and that is suddenly involved. So this doesn't really tell us anything. Not only does it say involved, it says turned up at crime scenes, which means someone who used it in a lawful self-defense situation could potentially show up on this list.
His department is one of more than 140 law enforcement agencies nationwide we found offloading their used weapons to gun stores.
So this is about 220 Smith & Wesson M&P 40Cs.
I find it funny that at first they treat this as if it's some big secret, like, oh my gosh. But I can't tell you how many ads I have seen very loudly stating LEO trade-ins. They even still have the markings. No one is hiding it because it is perfectly legal and is financially responsible to the taxpayers. By selling or trading them in, agencies get a discount on new firearms or can put the money towards new firearms or other projects. The goal of this massive report is obvious: pressure police agencies to destroy firearms rather than sell off their used stock.
Stephen, were any of the police departments that you spoke to open to stopping this practice?
They have apparently succeeded, at least in convincing one agency, and they spoke with other departments like Seattle, who have been doing this since 2016.
This is what Seattle's police department does with its used guns. We recently watched as they melted 179 used service weapons.
They even contacted the ATF to push this point, who had to confirm that, yes, it is legal.
When first approached about this story, the director of the ATF told CBS News he was not familiar with the issue of police agencies selling their guns. Now, a spokesperson later told us that the practice is legal.
They only sell them to their own officers or to valid federal firearm license dealers, who would still be required to perform background checks when they sell these police trade-ins. So you're going to at least the third person before someone could potentially get it without a background check. And that is ignoring stolen firearms. Even with this 52,000 number, they admit that includes firearms that were lost or stolen, which obviously inflates their numbers. They are creating an issue and talking point out of thin air in an effort to reduce guns that are being lawfully sold. Even if they can report that they are sometimes used in crimes, that obviously wouldn't be the fault of any police agency. If they pushed this and it created a change, all it would do is reduce the number of used firearms on the market and make it a bit more expensive. And this is not a one-off, it is a multi-pronged approach. CBS ran the national story, The Trace is also pushing this separately, and all the local CBS affiliates are doing the same thing, reporting on what their local agencies are doing. In looking at the national story, I was confronted with a ton of local news stories, all piggybacking off this national one. Another thing worth pointing out, a national registry is prohibited, but they certainly seem to be able to trace these pretty easily, which is not ideal. Anyways, this seems to be a new gun control talking point, so I would not be surprised to see this spread to other organizations and start popping up in political speeches as well. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you heard this talking point anywhere else yet? If you've made it to the end of the video, please consider supporting me on Patreon, joining the Discord, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with others. Thanks for watching.